President Donald Trump has been using and threatening to further use federal police forces to crush the uprising sweeping the nation against racism and police brutality. Last weekend's events have shown that his strategy of intimidation continues to fail, and in fact, Trump's threats and his cops running riot in Portland is re-energizing the movement in the streets across the nation. The protests have touched a deep nerve in the country, as was made clear over the weekend. Violent and armed right-wing attacks took place against protesters in two cities, killing one anti-racist protester in Austin, Texas, who appears was attempting to protect demonstrators from a car attack. Seattle was a major flashpoint over the weekend as large protests in solidarity with Portland were met with widespread police force. And in this video, legal observers were hit directly in the face by pepper spray. The Seattle protest took on extra significance when President Trump announced late last week he was sending his federal cops into the city, allegedly to deal with protesters the same way they had in Portland. And in response, the crowds in Seattle were the largest they'd been in some time, and that large crowd made its way to a construction site for a new youth jail, and there some subset of protesters set fire to the construction equipment that was being used to erect this new place to warehouse young people deemed to be criminal. The march moved on from there to a police precinct, and at that point, things took a turn. The Seattle police claimed an incendiary device was used in order to declare the protest a riot and shut it down. The police are making a big show in the media of how they were assaulted brutally, as some reports detail fireworks were thrown at police. The police, however, are not making a big deal of their own violence that took place over the weekend.
Mister, can I ask you if that is a Blue Lives Matter mask? Police are sprinting. Police are sprinting. Let's go. Hey, hey, hey. Get him up! Get him up! Get him up! Get him up! Hey, fuck you!
In Oakland, hundreds of protesters also gathered to show solidarity with Portland and express outrage against police violence. And that protest also saw fires set at the Alameda County Courthouse, a notorious symbol of California's brutal, racist prison system. A little further down the coast, LA also saw protests where protesters took over the major 101 freeway. The protest also made news when a video of the LAPD provoking protesters came out. In New York City, thousands took to the street in a march for black women. And Portland also continued to see large protests, now approaching 60 days of protest. The old statement really is true. Oppression breeds resistance. This movement will not be defeated through intimidation and police violence, the very problems it formed to fight against.